It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, and the wild bees and the hoverflies and just about every insect you can think of is all over the green manure. A mixture of seed this year, which has actually brought in even more insects. It's absolutely beautiful to see. So we have got, I think, all of the cabbage white butterflies on the site and now on my allotment. And you know, it's so beautiful watching them all. It's just thousands of them. Well, not thousands, I'd say there was above 100. The wind has got up now a little bit and it's kind of blowing them off, but before this wind got up, the whole allotment was lifting with them. I should have took a bit of video footage before, but it is what it is. So now the unexpected bonus of having all the cabbage whites feasting and picking on this mustard and all this other seed is that the brassicas have been completely left alone. There's about 8 sprouts growing here. They've been in for the entire summer, put in about March, April time, and they have suffered a little bit from the cabbage whites. That was until the green manure came into flower, and since then they have completely left them alone. Now, I don't like covering completely with a net. I do like to leave a gap under the net here, which obviously means cabbage whites can get in, but it also means predators can get in. So my sprouts don't suffer from masses of whitefly damage. So there is a little bit of whitefly on them here, but not too much, you know, you can cope with a little bit. There's some lovely sprouts on them, as you can see already. They're making nice sprouts. But this leaf damage was done by the caterpillars of the cabbage white about 2 weeks ago. And you can see now that this is new growth coming up on this sprout. And there's no damage on, there's no more eggs being laid on it. There's no caterpillars on it. Absolutely brilliant. Because the cabbage whites are now laying their eggs on the mustard, which I really don't mind at all. I really don't mind. So yeah, sprouts are looking amazing this year. Very little damage at all on this new little spurt of growth that they're currently having. More green manure here, and this is the buckwheat. Very dominant. So this was the first bed I planted way back a couple of months ago, and it looked like the buckwheat was going to be very dominant, and it actually is. So what is it? It's over 4 foot tall now, some of these plants. Some of the others are getting pushed aside by the buckwheat, which, you know, I thought they would be. This was just experimental to see how the different types of green manure will grow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there's either 6 or 7 growing in this bed. But again, we've just got white butterflies flying everywhere around the entire plot, and I absolutely love it. I just love seeing them all this insect life on the allotment is just absolutely amazing. I'm just in awe of it all. And there's a lot of people say on the internet, there's no insects. There is insects. You've got to give them a home. They have now got a home here, and it is absolutely alive, the entire allotment. It's been pretty busy all year with insects, the allotment. I planted a butterbean at the end of the polytunnel early on in the year, about March. That started flowering April or May, and it brought all the hoverflies and bees in. The smell from the flowers was beautiful. So we had a lot of pollinators in the polytunnel. It's full of white butterflies at the minute. They've sort of gone in. Just in awe of all the insects. It's just fantastic to see. Another little bed of green manure here. I'm actually just going to lift the net off here. I do have to net most things, especially I found the green manure. And what was happening was the partridges were coming in, and I mean a lot of partridges. Partridge live in gangs, so when you get one, the next day you've got about 10. They're like miniature chickens scratching the allotment up, and they scratch and eat all the seed you've got planted. So one of the beds which I didn't cover had to completely re-sow it because they'd virtually eaten every seed in the bed. So yeah, there's another sowing of green manure. It's actually a mixture of the plants that are in that bed there. You can just see them. They're all looking really good. And it will look like this, hopefully, in a couple of weeks' time. We'll have all this insect life, butterflies, everything on it. So if you're up for a bit of a better vantage point here. But yeah, I just love this year's green manure. I am so glad I grew all these mixed species, because it really is helping out the wildlife, especially all these little wild bees, hoverflies and different sort of insects. They're absolutely loving this, all these flowers here. And apart from anything, it just looks amazing. It really does. Looks so beautiful. It was only a few weeks ago that I showed this bed here, and I'd literally just sowed this buckwheat. And look at it now, guys. It's sort of 18 inches tall. Looks absolutely amazing. And I did put some other seeds in here as well. I just scattered a few random bits and bobs with them. So for instance, that's a mustard, that one there. But vast majority is buckwheat though, which you can see, but there's kind of all kinds coming in there. Next door to it there is another bed of green manure. So that was planted approximately a week after this one. Yeah, so you can really see the difference just a week of growth makes on these beds, doesn't it? I just love it. Absolutely beautiful. It looks just absolutely stunning having the beds covered in August, just having them covered. The Greek gigantic beans there, oh, they've done really well this year. As of that big stand of beans there, they're 13 foot tall now. Again, we've just got butterflies all over the mustard here on this side, absolutely everywhere. I have kind of lost the paths again now. The paths are disappearing as the green manure crosses them. Really don't mind, because as I said in a previous video, the green manure or growing the compost, it's a sow it and leave it thing. So we've sowed it, we're giving back. We've got all these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds down here, hoverflies, bees, wild bees. I'm more pleased that it's just full of wild bees rather than honeybees. There's a few hives on the allotment, but I just love these wild bees being on here and just giving them something to eat that's not been sprayed with anything whatsoever, you know. So it's really good food for them, this. And they're no doubt building up some honey reserves for the winter for themselves, as is the bacteria and the fungi in the soil. So all this growth now coming up on the allotment again, and we're right at the end of August. I think it's August the 26th. So all these plants, every individual plant here, hundreds and hundreds, is putting roots down, pushing roots into the soil. It's pumping sugars into the soil as it grows. It's feeding the microbes, the bacteria and the fungi, and they are also building up their own reserves for winter. They're making things like humic acid in the soil, and that's their food reserve for the winter. So when all this stuff is died back, when the frosts come and the dark nights, they've still got a food reserve in the soil for them to feed on over winter. So rather than the ground being empty now from the end of August right through till next March, and the bacteria and fungi just dying out because they've got no food, so they go into dormancy and the fungi make spores that will regrow next year. No, the fungi and bacteria in this soil can carry on growing and thriving now and building up the food reserves just to tide them over the winter, so that when the crops go in next year, that fungal and bacterial colonies in the soil are just going to be ready to go. And the soil will be really fertile. It's really just so important to get green manure in, guys, and it's still not too late to put some in. You're getting towards the cut-off point now, but you can still put some in. You've got a good growing month ahead. September, it's probably going to be a bit wetter than August, so your crops are going to grow. You're not even going to have to water them. The last bed I sowed, I think, was that little one I've just showed you over there. I've just taken the net off. That was the last bed I sowed about 2 weeks ago. So it does just show you the growth. Some of these beds are doing better than others, and that is down to me not watering every couple of days. I've only been watering this green manure when it starts flopping over, purely because it just has not rained at all and the ground is bone dry still. But yeah, little seedlings, they do need watering, so it's been once a week, possibly twice a week in some beds, but not enough, just to keep the soil surface moist for them. I could just stand, well, I've been standing here for a good half hour just watching these gangs of butterflies just chasing each other around the plot. They'll form little groups of 10 and 20 butterflies and then they'll all go down. You'd have to be here to appreciate it, believe me. And the ground is bzzz, just thousands of bees, little tiny bees. The smallest insects, like bee-like insects, to the big bumblebees are all over it. I'm going to shut up now, I promise. So you may be wondering, what have we got growing? Well, let's have a quick tour. Eskimo carrots, which are now pushing up the net, and I think in a week or so I'm going to lift the net. That net has not been lifted. It was lifted once, sorry, because I did a bit of weeding about 3 weeks after the carrots came up, but since then I have not lifted that net, and I am going to have to check the size of these carrots, because if they're a reasonable size now, then I'm going to take the foliage off the top. So carrots, we've got some celery here. Now this bed here had a small stand of sweet corn in it this year, and I put in and amongst the sweet corn, I had rows of onions running on the perimeter of the bed. I had the squash in, and then I had the sweet corn in, and I had French beans on the end as well, a patch of French beans. So that bed has already given us loads of courgettes. It gave me some really nice sweet corn. These sweet corn plants that I put in this bed were just spares, and I couldn't bear to throw them away. So there was about 15 in this bed. Got some really nice corn off them. The plants weren't very tall. It was a variety called Swift, but the corn was lovely and sweet. Unfortunately, the rats got to it pretty early. This was the first bed that the rats attacked, so I just harvested maybe 15 cobs off it, and then I took the plants out, cut the corn plants at the base, and I've just let the courgettes take over, and we've harvested a load of beans, and I've got some beautiful onions for this bed as well. And we had a few lettuce in here as well, by the way. There's a couple of lettuce over at the end there, which Lolorossos, which I'm just allowing them to seed. So basically now, yeah, courgettes only in that one. We have of course got the beans. Now this plant here is that volunteer Greek gigantis bean that started growing again. It's an absolute mass. It's got so many canes in because it's fallen over 3 times because the wind, because it's such a big mass of a lump, the wind keeps blowing it down. So it's kind of squashed the green manure in this bed. It was down again this morning, so it's give the green manure a good old squashing, but it will stand up. This was a potato bed with the Maris pipers in, and again I'd put a courgette at the back of the Maris pipers and a few brassicas, which I think I'm going to take them brassicas out today. They are those cauliflowers, what they call those cauliflowers? Romanesco, that's it, Romanesco. God, I've been racking my brain. Problem was, I put 4 in here, they were just spares, and at the end of a potato bed. Anyway, the potatoes, which were Maris pipers, just got massive, and they just kind of blocked them of all light, so they ended up being really runty little weedy plants. So the cauliflowers never got a chance to develop. So there's one there. You can just see it. The head it's just actually opening up the head now. So they're no good. They may as well come out and be compost food. But yeah, still a couple of courgettes coming from that one plant I put in here. And some more brassicas here. You can see this net is holy, but as the butterflies have not been in at all, not at all. Now I thought that these were broccoli, but I'm absolutely afraid to say that these are 100% cauliflowers, I think. I'm sure these are collies, guys. They look like no broccoli I've ever grown, that's for sure. What's going on in here? I've not looked in here for about a week, but they're curling up inside like they're going to be cauliflowers. Oh, I could have sworn I just put broccoli in this bed. I could have sworn. There is. Right. So they're collies. There is the broccoli. I'll bring you over. Oh, yeah, there's one of the broccoli heads there. So actually you can tell now as I got the net off the leaves. So yeah, these are broccoli and they're obviously cauliflowers. All these went into this bed after the rye grain came out. So put a load of French beans here at this end, which we've had a lovely big harvest of French beans off these plants. I think they're more or less finished now. There's no flowers appearing on them, so you know I'll have one last pick of these, and then these beans can all come out as well. But there's some big lettuce there, which never even got to harvest any of this lettuce. There's been so much lettuce on the allotment this year that they just got left, but they'll make good compost anyway. Now there is something got in here, and I suspect these are slugs or snails just eating the leaves on this broccoli plant, because it's definitely not cabbage white butterfly. So yeah, there's been a snail or a slug got in around these lettuce somewhere, and it's just been chewing these leaves here, these two, but it's not really affected the plant at all. And then there I have my touchon carrots, which are still growing. I mean, they are still growing. They're getting a little bit on the big side now, and some of them are starting to split. They are so big. So we're still eating them, and we'll still be eating them probably for another month until them Eskimos come ready at the front. The bed with the sprouts in it there, and we've got that little green manure bed there, which has just done brilliant this year. The one I showed last year where I'd just sown a mixture of vegetable seeds into the bed and just let them do their own thing. Well, this year they've carried on doing their own thing. A lot of them must have set seeds, so there's a lot of Swiss chard come up. But I did grow peas and onions and garlic and all kinds in it this year, and everything grew so fast and it came out early, and I've just left what was growing in the bed from seed last year. Now we've got a row of parsnips here. This is all I bothered really growing this year. There's some big parsnips here already. So that is the parsnip in there. I've got a row of leeks growing here. Few more celery plants. I've also since put some more lettuce around the edges of this bed. There was lettuce running up the other side. I've already harvested 2 rows of garlic from this bed this year, and lots of lettuce. There was rocket growing in here as well. And this is my little gala apple tree. Look at the size of these beauties here. So it's only it's not 3 years old, the tree. This tree has been in the ground for 2 years, and I think it didn't do that well last year, but I think this year it's really got its roots in now, and it's making these beautiful apples this year. There's quite a few on it, but they're a gorgeous size for gala. A couple of apples here. These are trees I inherited, but every year I've been cutting these apples hard back because the trees were quite big when I came, so every year I cut them a little bit more, keep reducing them, and hopefully I'll get them down a little bit more yet, maybe another 18 inches off the top of these trees, and we can have a nice little row of trees here. This really is as high as I want these trees, so there's a little bit more I'll take off the tops of these this winter, but when you can produce apples like this from such a little tree, it's well worth it, and they're not casting shade over the back. Yeah, some of these are the branches I cut 2 years ago, and they're just absolutely hanging in apples. They are. Just I don't know how that branch hasn't broke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 apples just on that one little branch there. Yeah, of course, and we've got all these beauties as well. And then the tree next door, again, I've been cropping down and cropping down. Again, absolutely full of apples this year. Full of them. This one, I'm going to take quite a bit more off it this year. This tree. And then we've got this tree here, apples. It's actually a pink lady apple. Got a few little pinks, and again I'm reducing this. This was quite a big tree when I came on, so every year I've been cutting back. This is probably now around the height I want this tree to stay at, so I haven't cut that one back yet because I've just got a couple of apples on there. There's a few here, so yeah, as soon as this finishes its fruiting, I'll take these back branches off, bring them down to this height, so about a good 5 foot, and that'll be really good. And if I can get those trees down to the same height as this, I'll be really happy. Almost forgot my little blueberry cage here. So there's 6 plants. You can see the size of them. They're not that tall. And this year I have had 6.25 kilos of blueberries from these 6 plants. I'm absolutely amazed by them. 2 new plants went in last year. That's this one here. But those 2, 3, 4 plants, one in the corner there, they were from the year before. But these new ones, they produced some massive blueberries. They were enormous. Not much on them, but the blueberries were double the size of the rest, and they were so sweet. They were beautiful. So yeah, last year, guys, 2 kilos of blueberries, and I was hoping to double that up to 4 kilos this year, but we've done 6.25 kilos. I'll put what that is in pounds on screen for you, but I'm going to take some cuttings off these very shortly and just try and get a few more little plants together, and I can put some down this side of the fruit cage as well, and just try and get a few more next year. And then we have now got the back of the allotment where I stripped all the corn out. Again, these were 2, 3, 4, 5 sister beds in amongst the corn with courgettes, onions, even put some peppers in this one. Just all the spare plants I had just got put in and around the corn. And again, because the corn's come out, the courgettes have gone crazy. I actually cut the squash out. The squash was growing in this bed here, which had the incredible corn in. Yeah, I sowed the green manure seed about good 4 days ago. You can see that the green manure seed is coming up as well, so it's got a good 6 weeks to get some height on it now, and it'll just be in time to put in some nice growth before winter and feed those little microbes. Yeah, so it's that one with the incredible, and then that one was the golden bantam bed. Again, sown on the same day. They're now coming up. And kind of the last growing bed now, guys, is this one, which has got a few celery plants and again just some lettuce. We've actually got some, because I love letting these lettuce just go to seed like this. This is a Lolo Rosso that's been growing on this allotment now for 3 years, because the first year I let the Lolo Rosso go to seed and they put seed out all over the allotment, and what we end up doing is we don't really have to plant lettuce because it just comes up everywhere. So when you see a little lettuce plant growing somewhere in a path or in a bed, we just transplant it and put it where we want it. And just to prove that point, there's a little lettuce growing there between the crack in the flags. Look at that. And a volunteer tomato there as well. But I am not such a tidy freak that I have to pull things like that tomato and lettuce out. I just don't. I just kind of leave things like that. Our last bit of produce making stuff is these strawberries, which are still in flower. You know, they're still flowering now, some of these. There's a big mixture of mixed up strawberries in here. So we've basically got strawberries from around about the end of April into towards the end of the year whilst the weather stays decent. Yeah, I can probably carry on harvesting strawberries for quite a while yet. They're not massive strawberries. They're not massive. Yeah, little tiny ones like that, but wow, they are more strawberry than a strawberry. And guys, don't you find that with these little tiny strawberries, the flavour is just amazing. Just an intense strawberry flavour on them. And lastly, let's have a look here in the tunnel. We have just got masses and masses of fruits, of tomatoes. You say tomato and I'll say tomato. Look at these teardrops. This year's teardrops, aren't they? I love them. The way they all ripen together on a truss. So you just get a truss full of ripe tomatoes. And they've still got a lot of fruit on them coming, these plants. They only have the flowering and they've got trusses right up to the roof now there, guys. They are still loaded with toms. Got some more beauties there, my gorgeous honeycombs. Absolutely love those. Just eating them like sweets all day long. Then we've got the Honey Delights, which are the yellow tomatoes. They're really nice. They're more of an orange actually than a yellow. Going into the tunnel. The Armageddon chilies are just coming ready. I'm going to have to see if I can get in at the end there. This here is one of the Armageddon chilies. Absolutely laden with them, they are. Laden. There's no ripe ones on this one yet. Let's see if I can find you a ripe one. I've just had to take you off the tripod to get you in here. So there we go. There's one of the Armageddons. We picked one off yesterday. I dabbed a little bit of that onto my tongue, guys, and believe you me, my tongue was on fire and my bottom lip went numb. I have no tolerance towards chilies whatsoever. But there is going to be loads and loads of chilies on these. They're everywhere. There's not actually... Oh, there's one there just a coming. He's just a coming. He's just going orange. Yep, so he's a coming. Full of them. Down here in the undergrowth, look at all this. Cayenne peppers there. And I do need to get all these grapes picked now, because you can see they are just starting to shrivel up on the ends, these smaller ones. So I've just got to get all these grapes picked. I have to do them all. I've been picking sort of 1 and 2 bunches every day of the grapes. These Greek Gigantis butter beans here. Look at those guys in there. Absolutely love these butter beans. Really do love them. Yes, beautiful beans them. The melons, of course, have done what they do best and just died. I have had about 7, 8 melons, something like that. That one there looks to me like it's ready. That one. Oh yeah, look, just comes off. Oh, beautiful. Smell that, guys. Just smell that. Can you smell it? Wonderful. The beautiful smell of melon. And look, what have we here? In the bottom of this melon, we have a wireworm. Well, isn't that nice? I did say wireworm were a problem on this allotment, didn't I? Yes, guys, that is the tunnel. It's a bit of a jungle in there, but everything, absolutely everything apart from the melons is utterly thriving. All the peppermint and basil and chilies, tomatoes. Absolutely loving and living the best life. Absolutely fantastic. I think this will conclude this little mini tour, guys, vis-a-vis compost, where we are at the minute. That bin is half full. I've made compost that came out of that bin. I started filling that bin again whilst that one was finishing, So that one is full. Since then, this one is full, hot, 50-60 degrees. Both bins are running at the minute. I've not got a massive amount of material to put in, so I have been kind of scavenging a bit from other sites. I've got a video which I did when I took the sweet corn out. It's just over a week ago. So I ended up shredding all the sweet corn stalks and plants in my chipper, which does a beautiful job of chipping sweet corn. It really does. So I'll put that video on and I'll talk a little bit about that chipper and ways you can modify it to chip greener material, because it doesn't do a great job at chipping green material. The only reason is the outflow chute, because it's pointing up on an angle, it tends to clog up if the material is quite wet. So I'll just talk about how I get around that so I'm able to chip virtually anything in the chipper. I've also found the footage, finally, from when I built my polytunnel 2 years ago. So I'm going to do a video on that, showing how I built my tunnel. The tunnel is about 28 foot long, 29 foot long, something around there, 9 foot wide at the base, and it's about 8 foot, 9 foot tall. And the total cost for that tunnel was 150-60 pounds, something like that. And I have some more footage on the desktop which I'll probably just slam in. There's all kinds of bits and bobs on there, so I may do a compilation video just to clear the backlog of footage I've got. But going forward, my main focus now is keeping these bins full. The made compost in that bin, there's not much of it. There's maybe 3-4 barrelfuls. I may even have to take that out now, because I'm going to need that space for bringing this year's leaves in. When the leaves start falling in September, I'm going to have a storage bin to pack with leaves and wood chip again. I'm going to show you the leaf mould I made soon, which the bin has sunk in half. So half a cubic metre of leaves have disappeared into what is now absolutely beautiful leaf mould. It's just glorious being here looking at it all. Right guys, anyway, I will see you in the next video. Alright, bye for now.